Welcome back, boils and ghouls, to the Cult of the Cults. For all things Halloween, I'm hauntformer, and today, yes, we are going to be talking about 5 slept-on horror movies that you probably have never been recommended before. Because as I said in the earlier first installment of this series, October is a time to watch horror movies, but often you're getting cited the same couple of movies, and I'm trying to diversify your palette a tad. People ask me all the time, what are some movies that you usually don't hear about that I should recommend? And, well, we're going to talk about them. Let's move in to the first recommendation.
This book will drive people crazy. Let's hope so. The movie comes out next month.
John Carpenter is perhaps best known for Halloween and The Thing, but as you'll see with the first 2 entries of this episode, there are some movies that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to his filmography. He's done a lot of movies. It's like almost 30. It's pretty incredible stuff. And he's truly a fantastic director with a really keen eye for storytelling. This first installment comes from the mid-90s where, I guess, you know, horror was fading into the Scream era, I should say. But there were still a few sleeper hits, and one such one is In the Mouth of Madness, which is based off of the book of the same name, and follows Sam Neill's character, the guy from Jurassic Park. We had another Jurassic Park reference in the last episode, so that's kind of spooky. Anyways, he is trying to find this lost author by the name of Sutter Kane. Sutter Kane? Stephen King? No? Yeah? John Carpenter worked with Stephen King on Christine, and it's probably because of that relationship that this movie was created. Sutter Kane, this horror novelist, goes missing, and Sam Neill goes off to find Sutter Kane and discovers a really creepy town that is basically pulled straight out of one of this guy's novels. And there's all kinds of creepy stuff that happens. There's monsters, there's demons, there's things that only could come from this sick guy's mind. And as the movie unfolds, Sam Neill slowly begins to go insane. This is a really trippy movie, and I've only seen it once, but it stuck with me. The set pieces, the design of the story, the way that you kind of feel like isolated, just like Sam Neill is, it makes for a really interesting experience. That, mixed with the fact that it's this meta kind of story with Stephen King, makes it a must-watch for Halloween time.
We got a war going on down here. We can't find the damn thing.
Night of Hate. Assault on Precinct 13.
Yet another John Carpenter classic is another one that's not talked about. It's in fact 2 years older than Halloween, making it one of his earliest movies, Assault on Precinct 13, which the soundtrack for this movie was actually one of the reasons Halloween even got made, because apparently Donald Pleasance's daughter, the guy that played Dr. Loomis in Halloween, loved the soundtrack so much that he agreed to do Halloween. Interesting stuff. The movie is much better than just a soundtrack, though. It follows a group of police officers held up in their precinct when a bunch of gang members try to invade, and what you get is kind of this pseudo-zombie movie, but without zombies, just a bunch of gang members trying to kill the cops. It's more of an action movie than a horror movie, I should be completely upfront, but it has enough horror elements that I think will entice the horror fan. And some horror movies are really slow and they drag on a bit, just like the original Halloween, for instance. But Assault is completely the opposite. It gets right to the heart of it, and it just keeps going until the very end. It's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend you check it out for yourself. The found footage subgenre. Boy, do I love it. I love found footage movies, and one such movie that I don't hear a lot about is Troll Hunter. Troll Hunter is this found footage movie where these kids are trying to do a documentary about bears out in Europe somewhere. I can't remember the exact. I think it's like in the Norwegian mountain. You know what? Hang on. I want to get this right. Yeah. Well, it's a Norwegian movie, so I assume it's in Norway. Truth be told, they go out to do a documentary about bears and discover a guy who actually catches trolls and was hired by the government, the Norwegian government, to hunt trolls, hence Troll Hunter. The effects are wicked cool. The lore and the storytelling is really fascinating, and it feels just grounded enough to have you believe in trolls for at least an hour and a half. It's a lot of fun. I haven't seen a lot of troll movies, I should be honest. They're not really a monster that I talk a whole lot about, but this is one such movie where it really works. The effects are awesome, the story is great, you have characters that are believable and likable, and drama that really makes sense for the grand scope of the story that's trying to be told.
The Phuket Tapes.
Hey! While I have you about found footage movies, let's talk about another one. Whereas Troll Hunter is more of this kind of fun, scary movie, it's still technically horror, but it's a little more fantastical. The Phuket Tapes, I can never say it. Phuket Tapes is not like fun or fantasy at all. It is downright terrifying. It is definitely the scariest movie on this list. It is disturbing, and it has stuck with me ever since I watched it 3 times. I've seen this movie multiple times because it's a really well done movie. It is like this fake mockumentary about this killer in Phuket who has never been caught, and they think they keep getting closer to him, but he's always one step ahead. And the stuff that you see in this movie will be gut-wrenching. It is filmed partially from his perspective, and he gives the tapes, hence the Phuket Tapes, over to the police, and they evaluate the tapes in the mockumentary. It's really disturbing. If you're looking for a movie that'll keep you up at night, this is one of those ones that will do just that. It feels all too real, like a crime show that you would watch. It's kind of nice sleeping afterward knowing that he's not really out there, but there are people that are like him out there, and for that reason it makes it all the worse.
It's after me.
And of course, a monster or two. Experience a series of electrifying adventures as seen through Stephen King's Cat's Eye. Stephen King's Cat's Eye.
And finally, let's wrap up this episode with a little Stephen King-ness for ya. I know some King fans are out there watching. I'm a big fan of Stephen King's work, specifically his short stories. And one such classic collection is, of course, his anthology, Night Shift. Cat's Eye is a 1980s movie that takes various stories from his Night Shift collection and adapts them to the big screen. Specifically, Quitters, Inc. and The Ledge, in addition to a third story that King wrote with Drew Barrymore, the young Drew Barrymore, in mind after she starred in Firestarter. So this movie is an anthology with 3 different mini-stories in it, similar to Creepshow before it. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I think the first 2 stories are really solid. The third one is more like fantasy fun. It has a little bit of creepiness and some really cool effects with a little monster gremlin type character. But it's really those first 2 stories, that classic Kingness, that really get to me. Quitters, Inc. is of course about a man trying to stop smoking when this evil kind of company ruins his life. And The Ledge is about a man who is forced, really, to walk across a high-rise ledge. If you are afraid of heights, this one will 100% make your palms sweat. It is nerve-wracking. The movie is a lot of fun. There's tons of references to Stephen King, including a cameo by Christine and Cujo and all kinds of characters. Go out there and watch it. And with that said, we have wrapped up this episode of Cult of the Cults. If you have any other ideas and suggestions, leave them in the comments below and let me know what are some underrated horror classics that you love. Leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and remember, for all things Halloween, this is Hauntformer.